All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 11.
Episode 11.
Texas Gulf Surfer.
Is.
Yeah.
We've survived 11 episodes. Unbelievable. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My name is Jeff Dinacola, and, man, this is a show all about surfing. Happens to be my favorite subject. Before we get into that, man, let me see, the distinguished king of Surfside, Austin Campbell, ladies and gentlemen.
Right on. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks,
Awesome,
Jeff.
man. How you feeling?
Man, it's all right. It's been, been a long day, I guess you say. So
It's an emotional day, and just to kind of address this up front, we lost Greg Browning, the great California surfer this week, and more importantly, close to home, Trinidad, our local surfer and a great citizen, well-loved gentleman that we're going to miss, died suddenly on us, and he's a local surfer, as I just mentioned, and they did a really good get-together for him today. Austin helped put that together, ceremony of life, and our knight, Sir Chet, did
that's right. That's right. Chet did a great job up there. So, yeah, and, Kaylin over at Culture Coffee and then all of his family, everybody, did a great job. There was, God, man, it was standing room only over there. But we wanted to, just let everybody know, take a minute to give, shout out to Trini. Everybody knew him, Trinidad, and good surfer, local surfsider that, man, everybody just loved Trini.
Man, he's going to be remembered for a long time.
And, I know Lynn Yates is going to miss Trini running him over out there on the waves and stuff like that. So, it was, long day, but, it was good to see everyone out there, showing all the love for him. And, we saw some people we hadn't seen because, getting together, of course, that's what happens. So it was nice having some people out there kind of.
Yeah, surfers are good that way, man. When a brother or sister goes home, we do what's done, and that is a paddle out to follow. And when is that going to be, Austin?
Yeah, the paddle out. So the paddle out for Trini is going to be May the 10th.
Excellent.
That's a Saturday. It's going to be in the evening. We're going to do paddle out. And then we're going to have a bonfire afterwards.
Oh, cool.
So, cool. At the Jetty Beach. So, Jetty Beach, second break. That's what Sir Chet said.
Sir Chet, our Royal Knight.
Yeah.
But, man, we're going to do some cool stuff, man. We're going to do up and down the coast, get caught up on what's going on there. And we're going to do a little experiment to actually try to give you a video of some of our correspondents down there. So that's going to be kind of fun, too. But before we get started, I got to get my local guru, surf predictor, Austin, to tell me what I'm looking forward to this week, if anything.
I mean, it looks like there's some surf building for sure, right?
Okay,
and it looks like over the next week, we're going to have some stuff building up into the weekend. So we got Easter coming up this weekend, right?
That's right.
So we got Easter weekend, and it looks like there's going to be some surf. I don't know how clean it's going to be. It looks like the winds are going to be maybe a little heavy. So,
that's what we got up there.
Yeah. So, and I'll tell you this though too. So everybody, of course, little tip: holiday weekend, weekend surf. It's going to be a little crowded out there.
Very good. Very good
so.
Advice, because if you are coming down Easter weekend, expect crowds. Everybody knows that. Get down, get your little place in the sand, have a good time. So we are going to bump down starting South Padre Island, Texas, man, where we chime into Jacob Burks, man. He's the head TGSA judge in the South District. Super cool guy, always in the know of everything down there in South Padre Island. He is together with SBI Sessions, with Aaron Artwell, and good people. So we're going to hear from this guy, man. He is a major stud. Here we go.
Burks coming to you live from South Padre Island. We've got some good swell coming in. We've got nice, sweet southeast wind pumping 18 to 20 knots. The next few days looks like we're going to have a nice little bump to do some shredding on this weekend for Easter weekend. Feliz Semana Santa. There's a lot of traffic down here on the island. The weather is gorgeous, not a cloud in the sky. There's a lot of south in the swell, which it really wraps the jetty pretty well. Once it starts to build, we get into that 4 to 5 foot range on the buoy, then we're going to start seeing 2 to 3 feet of nice waves kind of peeling right, funneling into the pocket there at the jetty. I'm stoked. We're stoked. Get down here. Come ride a jet ski with us at SBI Sessions Water Sports. Or if you want to get better at surfing, give me a shout.
Man,
all right, man. Good job. Nice. Sounds like they got some good surf coming.
And how cool is that, man? Anybody can go to Surfline, but, man, that's a legit, real guy on the beach giving us the scoop locally, man. That's how I prefer to get my news. And and surf.
Yeah, and we're gonna, and as we get on, we're gonna try to, we're gonna try to get a little better at it and have some more guys on and give
let's do our
some up and down things. So right now, folks, we're gonna have a couple videos of some guys up and down the coast, and we're gonna let them to who do we got?
We got Stefan Lewis from the Corpus Christi area, and of course our beloved Brett Hopkins from Galveston. The legend himself is going to chime in. He is always a joy.
All right, guys. Well, here's the guys from up and down the coast.
We're getting ready to know if this is going to work or not. So stand by.
All right. We'll see you back in just a second.
Jeff, Austin, what up? Man, it looks like we've had some pretty fun surf to start out the week. It looks like we're going to see a little northeast wind show up, and then after that, I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the way through Tuesday of next week, we're going to have beautiful rideable surf up and down the coastline. Probably a little bigger down here in the coastal bend. It's been, waist to shoulder high on some takeoffs over here at the pack. Light crowds, low tide right now. It's about 4:53, but we see waves all the way till tomorrow, and then obviously we'll see a wind change, and then the swell upticks Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, with some longer period ground swell, lighter south winds at the beginning of next week. But water's super kind of inviting. You could skin it, top, 2 mil, whatever you feel comfortable with. Definitely flexing on your fast twitch muscles kind of makes you, it's got a little bite to it, but it feels warm outside.
We're doing, yeah. All right, guys, we're back. Hopefully.
Yeah, we hope that translates into what we're trying to do is give you guys audio and video of our two correspondents in those two different places. Yeah. But the way the editing is going, and we're still looking for a producer, we won't really know how that goes until it goes. So bear with us.
Hopefully you just saw Brett and Stefan in the video, and now we're back. So we know we're back. Hopefully you saw the video.
Yes, that's what we're hoping. And
anyways, yeah.
We're going back into board construction, which I'm super pumped about that because I'm getting ready to have a board made. We have some good guests coming up starting next week for the next several weeks. Some really, really good guests. So stay tuned for that because I'm sure you're getting tired of us.
Oh, it's going to be nice. We're going to have some guys and gals coming on, and
100%.
Some people even talking about some of the subjects. So definitely some things. So, I guess let's see if we have any other news. One other thing. So,
what do we got coming up?
I was talking, Morgan Faulkner and his wife. They're coming down with their Texas surf camps, the Lone Star Surf Series.
Yeah.
So, I just want to give them, kind of let everybody know what's going on because they're gonna be over here at the surf station,
staying up
having a surf movie night on Friday. So they're gonna be here April 25th. Is going to be the movie night, surf station. We're going to have food, some hot dogs. I'll be grilling some hot dogs. And 7 p.m., we'll have some food, and then movie 7:30. So come out here if you're out down for anybody who's down for the contest, for the kids contest. And then April 26th is Saturday, the surf contest. And, it's located to be determined. Right now, they're going to kind of see where it's at. I think, we'll leave that up to them. They're going to look at the jetties and look at some other places, just safest place, because it's kids.
Yeah.
So they're going to try to find the safest place. And we don't have to worry about it being too big a surf.
And we'll throw up a post as soon as we know the location.
It looks like the first heat is going to be at 8 a.m.
Yes.
Yep. So check in 7:30. First heat is 8 a.m. Good thing about these contests is if there's any kids out there that want to get in the contest and they're kind of like a little scared to get in TGSA, they hadn't done it or anything.
Yep. Pressureless.
Just go in there. It's I think they sign up the ones that haven't ever done it before for free.
I believe that's correct.
And then they get them out there and get them some experience just in some heats. And it's real good. Gives them a little confidence to go out and do TGSA. And he's a good coach. Him and Brittany, they do a lot of good stuff. So.
From zero experience up to some of our super competitive young men and women that you'll see again, kind of a repeat of the TGSA Surfside Open. A lot of those athletes will be coming back to Surfside to do the Lone Star Series because they're under 18. And man, that's some fearsome competition. So you want some really good young surfers. You could also come out to the event for that as well.
I think he told me they're gonna. It's going to be one of the old JEL surf movies of Texas from the early 2000s.
Epic.
Yeah,
I will be here for that.
Yeah, so it's going to be cool.
Food.
So, come out, some hot dogs and stuff. But yeah, let's see. Do we have anything else?
No, man, that's it. I'm pumped to go into board construction because, see, now you guys, I have a little bit of knowledge thanks to this guy, so I'm dangerous. And here's why. I'm getting ready to have a board made, and you're going to make me the board. So now that I know just a couple little things about foams and the glass and the resin, so now we're going to make me a surfboard right here on this show. And we're going to learn the steps, and we're going to make it. But it's going to be for me at the end, so that's cool with my team price and everything.
Yep. Team price. You got to win state championship though.
I do.
Oh wait, he did. Okay. So
forget that. Anyway, so I'm coming to you, man. I'm 5'9" on a good day if the wind's blowing right, and I'm 170 pounds. I'm needing myself a 7'2". So
7'2" is because you want to ride it in. This is for the contest,
right?
Right. I always like to ask people when they want a board. Okay. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? You just want to hang out here and surf? You want to go on a trip? You want to ride it for a contest? Is there certain things? So it sounds like this is probably going to be for contest surfing mostly.
Mostly, and I want it to have flotation. I want it to be a Gulf Coast type shape.
You want it to float good, paddle good, surf good, catch waves easy, and be real maneuverable.
Right. Well, there you go. And somebody to do all that stuff. But I'm looking at one on the rack there, and I'm really prone to an egg shape, or if they call that the egg shape.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
it looks like a Gulf Coast board to me.
An egg just looks aesthetically pleasing to the eye.
Sure does. I'm looking at one right there.
It's roundy round, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we like to say. There's no really, points on it, so it's just they look nice. KP loves a good egg board too.
Right. I want a little extra edge with the width because I'm lazy and
you want to be able to paddle. So that's the thing is you're looking at well, you want it to paddle good and catch some waves, maneuverability, but are you trying to do roundhouses and are you trying to I think you're trying to catch some waves, a little floater, get down the line real good.
Because I'm a longboarder at heart, I want it to ride like a longboard kind of.
So, some drawn out
to be able to do
some
that
drawn
kind
out
of
turns.
Yeah.
So that's you go with more of a traditional egg, single fin.
Okay, I'm single fin, 7'2".
You go in single fin. Look,
I want EPS foam.
People can. Nah, we don't want EPS foam.
No, I'm just kidding.
You knew I was going to say that. So the thing, catching a wave, having that little bit of heavier board sometimes is better for you, right? Catching the wave.
It is true, and that proved with the Secret Psycho that you made me. So a little bit heavier, but it catches everything. Rode it in the pool, it performed great. Yeah. So we're going with
that. Thing has a lot of rocker. That thing has a lot of rocker, so an egg will have less rocker.
Really?
Yeah.
I like
rocker.
We're
going to have a little entry rocker.
Okay.
But less overall
it's
rocker.
It's a mental thing with me. When I'm paddling, I like to see...
Yeah, you get a little entry rocker the first, 8 inches of the board or something like that, 12 inches. But you don't want to go too... you don't want to be pushing water with your rocker, right?
No, so you're not a ton of it, but I don't want it to purl either.
Right.
Not being an expert shortboarder.
So we'll give you just,
a happy medium with that. So now I know what I want. Medium rocker, 7'2". What are we doing next?
So then we're just going to talk about the width. You want to paddle. We look at how tall you are, how long your arm. Generally, look, there's no secrets. I mean, by now everybody knows 23 by 3. If we can get a board 23 by 3, I can make you a 10-foot board 23 by 3, or I can make you a 5-foot board 23 by 3, and it's going to surf great. We can get somewhere around 23 wide.
23 by 3. Tell me what that is.
23 wide in the center, or not even always in the center, at your wide point. 23 wide at your wide point, 3 inches thick at your thickest point in the center. Foiled out nice. It's harder to get those measurements in a shorter board because you have to have foil, right? You have to have your board has to foil out.
No, that makes sense.
Thin, so that's you have to be a little trickier, take foam out of areas. So. The board you keep looking at on the rack, I think we built that. It's a used board, by the way. It's for sale.
Yeah.
It was for Matt. It was for Matt Daly. I think he hurt his shoulder and he was getting back into surfing. He was trying to get back, rehabilitate himself. He was riding a little bit longer board than normal. So once he got rehabilitated, he went back to his short board that I built him, and he's been riding his short board a lot, right?
Yeah.
So, but that was a little bit big for what he normally rides. But it was perfect when he was trying to get back into it. Now that board's a little thin.
And that's what I was just going to say. Keep going.
Right, because he likes a short board, so we thinned it out for him so that way when he was surfing it, he did feel like he was on a little bit shorter board, right? So,
and he's really good on a short board.
Yeah, Matt's a great surfer. Yeah, I mean he's.
But for me, I'm a lazy paddler. I want it a little bit thicker. I want to catch waves like a longboard.
You just want to go down the line a little bit in a little couple carves, couple long drawn out turns, and little floaters here and there.
Right. So what am I going to give up if I add thickness to a little bit extra thickness to that board? It's going to. You're just gonna.
It's at 7.2. What you're trying to do, I don't think you're giving up much with adding a little thickness to it. You're not trying to throw your tail around and lose the tail, and so you're not really giving up much. You're just getting a better board, right?
More float, a little bit more buoyancy for me.
Right.
Now, okay, so now I'm in. I know the foam I want. I know the board I want. I know the dimensions.
We're going to ask you, like you want it, how double 6 glass job because you want it to not pressure ding as much.
Okay.
And it's a little bit heavier, but we've all kind of decided that like it's not too heavy. Good weight's good for especially around here. Mm-hmm. Another thing I like, I'll tell everybody too, if the offshore, if your offshore winds are blowing,
true.
You're coming down here, don't bring your lightest board unless it's short. If you got a short board and it's your favorite board and it's light and the offshore winds are blowing, that's good because that short board can get in there, right? And if you're a short boarder, but if you're long boarder or mid length and you bring that light board, man, unless you're a great paddler and you can kind of get up on and paddle a little, more forward and then still pop up, it's going to blow that offshore wind. So that's one other, reason a heavy board. So, we just want that's what I'm looking at. A board that's going to catch you some waves and you're going to kind of get some drawn out turns. The fin, a lot of times on a single fin, especially an egg, your fin, you can change 4 or 5 different fins and you're going to get different board feels by the way the fin is.
Man, and that was my next question because now I'm pretty comfortable with the board you're going to make. It's going to be an egg, maybe a little extra thickness in the middle. I'm all happy with the 23-23-7.2. So you look at the male, female athlete, their wingspan, you look at them all. So now we're making the dang on board. So, am I better off? First of all, tell me fins real quick because now I'm sold. I'm on the board. Do I set it up as a quad plus one so I have many options, or what do I do there?
So we have a egg in the back that's going to be on the rack.
Okay,
it's new. It's just stock board. Okay. It's set up as a twin or a single fin, and not a 2+1. Like I'm not suggesting anybody ride it with all 3 fins in because I didn't set it up as a 2+1. I set it up as a twin. It's just a twin fin. Some people call them a twin pin, but it's more like a twin egg. It's not quite a pintail. But I put a center box in there, a long box, so somebody could ride it as a single fin.
Single fin.
Right. But I would tell them never, now you do whatever you want. You can throw all 3 in there and try it, move it around, might end up being fun, but it's a twin or a single fin.
So you don't put the quad in that type of an egg board, what I'm talking about.
What you're talking about with the single fin, the bigger, you can use a little bit larger fin. It's going to help you catch waves a little easier. And you're not trying to, the way you're talking about surfing it, I think a single fin is going to get a little more drive, right? As you're turning, that fin is pushing against the water, right? So it's giving you push against and push back. So it's kind of, that's what's giving you drive, the bigger fin.
So in your thinking, you wouldn't ride it as a thruster 3 fin by dropping the middle fin down in length and 2 side bites? That's not really how it works.
You could do 2+1. I have this opinion, and I feel like I've told a lot of people, and they came back and told me that they agreed. I think that, especially here, especially a place where you don't, on a lot of days where you don't have a lot of power, right? Having side bites is just causing extra drag in the water, right?
I could buy
so
into
now
that.
if you're surfing a thruster, you got 3 little fins, right? So it's different. I'm not saying like a thruster is causing more drag because you got 3 little fins. But if you're doing 2+1 and you got like a 9-inch fin in the center, and then you got 2 side bites, the side bites are just causing more drag. Now if you go to a 8-inch fin and you do side bites, that's kind of different. It's a different kind of surfing, but so on an egg that you're talking about, you want to surf, I would, now I would always tell somebody, if you think you ever want to surf this as a 2+1, yeah, sure, put 2+1,
Exactly what I was saying.
And then you just leave the side bites out most of the time.
Exactly, but okay, and that would be cool. So I'm all into that
2+1.
2+1 because I can ride it as a single fin, which would be cool, folks. And then you mean to tell me that board at 7.2 in these dimensions would ride as just it's just 2 fin board?
Oh, well, it depends on how, the fins have to be set in the right place.
Right. Are my fins going to be set in the right place?
Well,
if you ride it with just the two fins?
If you were going to ride that, I wouldn't suggest you to ride it as a twin fin if that is set up as a 2+1, because the side bites are not in the same place as a twin fin.
Oh.
Your fin placement's going to be completely different where your side bites are. Now,
I think the safe bet for me is the single fin.
It's just...
This seems safe for me, because then it's going to glide smooth. You sold me when
you know what
said
they say.
It catches waves a little bigger. I was sold right then.
You know what they say. Single fins have more fun.
Okay, there you go. So now I'm in. We know the foam. We're making the board, and now you're going to tell me about what layers of glass, why I needed to not do the pressure dings.
We're going to do double six. Our standard's double six, single six. So double 6 ounce on the deck, single 6 ounce on the bottom. And then a fin patch over your on the bottom.
Okay.
Then you decide if you want to do any color, And generally, there's so much when you're talking about board construction. There's a million ways to do color. You can paint on the foam. You can do inlays. You can do art. You can do resin tints. We prefer to do resin tints, resin swirls, opaques. Just put the color in with the resin, because I feel like it lasts longer, and you don't have anything on the board that could mess up the bond, right? And I'm not saying like airbrushing on boards messes up the bond. There's millions of boards out there that have airbrush on them. I just like to have the color in the resin. So that's what we do a lot. We do inlays, and it depends on like the style of the board sometimes.
Understood.
Right?
I see mine in white, all white, but I've seen some color work that they've been doing back here. Excellent.
Yeah, man. KP's great with the swirl.
Really, really good.
He's pretty good for a colorblind guy.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's my glasser. And so now we know we got it. We're gonna put resin on it. What's happening next?
So we got the board. We're gonna go in there. Of course, we talked about kind of shaping it the other day. I think we talked about you go in there, you take the measurements from the 12 inches in, from the nose and tail. We cut it all out. We shape it. When KP starts to glass it, he has a lot of stuff to do. He has to, if you're getting no color.
No color.
Oh man, he loves you.
I know.
Yeah. So no color. It's when there's color. I just want to say this: when there's color, you're doing a cut lap, so you're taping off the deck. Lots of tape work, and he's got to laminate the bottom. Of course, all the boxes are taped off. You laminate the bottom. I want to tell you a funny story about the boxes real quick. It just reminded me. We tape off the boxes. We use a certain tape. It's green. It's a green 3M tape, right? And had the boxes taped off, and maybe it was something else. And I think somebody came in to look at their board, and they asked, I think they asked Dave here, he was working. He said, "Well, is that green going to still be in there?" And it's funny because everybody does that when they see the boxes taped or the red tape. So, but yeah, so we tape the boxes, tape the thing, and he has to do mixed color, and he has to use a little more resin when there's color, because you have to make sure it's saturated real well and stuff like that. So clear, pulls the cloth, 2 layers of cloth on the or 1 layer of cloth on the bottom with his patch on the fin box.
Gotcha.
Then he's going to roll it down a little bit, put the logo.
Gotcha.
Right there. He's going to mix some resin, and we like to say, he's just going to do a little bit like this, and it's going to be glassed.
This is a dumb question. Here's another one of my dumb questions.
So he has to stir the resin 100 times first of all.
This is going to be really dumb, but do you set your fin boxes before your first pass of glass?
Yeah. So the fin boxes are already cut out. I've cut out the fin boxes and set them.
Set them, and there's like super scientific. Man, it freaks me out.
I would say so. Quads placement there's a lot of numbers to it. Thruster and 2+1. It's pretty much the same. Quad and twin. There's a lot of calculations to be done. So I'll normally set the fin boxes. KP's he'll just tape them off and everything. So sometimes he'll set them. I'll cut them. He'll set them. So, but yeah. So he rolls out the layer of cloth. He has to mix the resin. KP he has a rule: 100, stir it 100 times. That's KP's rule. So
that's why he's one of the best.
Yeah. So he stirs it real good, and you got to mix the resin real good. So then he's pour it on, and he makes it look easy, right? You see him pour the You see him pour the epoxy across,
He does make it look
and
easy.
he's just spreading it, and it looks like you're just spreading around, some peanut butter or some, something like that. It takes a very good hand, very soft touch. One way, you can't pull the cloth can move. So there's a lot a lot of experience. I always say, like, building a surfboard isn't super hard. Making a surfboard pretty is really hard.
No, that makes sense.
So, and making it ride good is a little bit hard. So yeah, laminate the bottom, let it dry, bring it into the sanding room, grind the laps as it's folded over.
That's right.
So it's your laps. So you're going to grind your laps. You got to be careful not to hit your foam.
I was going to ask that, man.
Right?
You're right on the foam.
So you're right on the foam.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. You got to be good not to hit the laps. So you can't just have anybody sand the laps, right? So you got to bring it back in after the laps are sanded. Then you're going to put your 2 layers on the deck.
Okay.
He's going to roll that out, roll it back a little bit, put the logo there.
And so that top layer of fiberglass, does that meet that lap that comes over? Is that where the
bottom layer is cut to where it just goes to the deck, really, just kind of wrap right on the edge.
Right.
And then the second layer is going to wrap around the rail again.
Underneath,
right.
Gotcha.
So he's going to have a double lap. So you got a lap on the bottom, and then you got a lap on the top.
Understood. For the rail string.
For the rail string, right?
Gotcha,
so, then we got that. So then, basically, he's got to do the same process, laminate the whole thing. If there's colors, a lot more work. If it's not, he's going to be real happy it's just clear. Every once in a while he gets to do a clear board. We do a lot of color here. So
yeah.
So then we got same thing. You got to let that kick. You got to let it harden. You got to come back.
And depending on the weather, I keep hearing Dougie Tanaka saying stuff about, well, we could have had it done with the weather. So there's a weather factor involved with that stage of the construction of the board, which I'm interested in knowing about. And how does that affect?
So the more humid it is, the longer the resin, or the colder it is, the longer it takes to kick. The hotter it is, the faster it dries. Sometimes too fast. You got to be quick, right? And you want it to be. The humidity is the big factor here. Like when we have a lot of high humidity, that kind of factors in because you don't want anything to wrinkle in your coats, right? So once he's laminated both sides, he'll come back. He'll sand that bottom lap, right? Get it smooth.
Gotcha.
And this is when you start what some people call it the hot coat. Some people call it a sanding coat. But you're going to do epoxy resin on both sides, right? So you're going to do a hot coat on the deck and then a hot coat on the bottom. And both those are going to be sanded. So you're going to sand the top and bottom.
Ooh, that seems like a lot of work.
And we have a proprietary sand job.
Right.
We don't want to talk about that. Yeah. And then, so we sand that real quick. Not real quick. KP'd be mad at me if I said real quick. So it's epoxy. I'm like, so we sand that real quick. No, it's actually, epoxy is tough, right? So it's pretty hard. So when I say real quick, I mean like we sand it in the next day or so it doesn't get too hard.
Oh, that makes sense. So
we sand that. Then we come back and that's when you do your gloss coat.
Get a third step.
So you got your gloss coat, right? So you go in, you do your deck, and then he's going to do then he's going to come back, and then he's going to do the bottom. So
now we're at the point where you have to decide sanded finish, gloss finish. What is the daggum difference?
So and here's the thing: is some people do what they call like a comp finish or a sanded finish, where they just do that hot coat and they just sand that. If they do that hot coat really thick and really nice, they sand it, and then it's done.
Is it truly sealed without that final coat?
That's easy to get sand through. Sometimes you don't get to get things as smooth and flush.
Okay.
So we always do sanding coat, fill coat, whatever you want to call it. You call it a fill coat, sanding coat, hot coat, whatever you want to call it. We do that. We sand it, and then we come back with a gloss coat. Now, you're correct. Your gloss coat does not have to be polished. Your gloss coat can be a sanded finish.
Really?
So we take our gloss resin, we do both sides, and then you decide, do you want to stop at 600? Somebody says, I just want a sanded finished board. So we'll stop at 600 wet.
That's the grade of the sandpaper.
Right. Okay. 600 wet.
Okay.
So he's going to have to go from, 220, 320, 400, 600 wet, right? Then he's done. But if we're going gloss and polish, you go, you start at 320, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, maybe 1,500 wet by hand usually, and then you come back And then you come back and polish it with some polishing compound, just like you'd buff out a car. So again, like if there's any guys out there who are automotive guys who want to come over here and make less money sanding surfboards, we'll take you.
And bring your producer friend with you too. So looking for that.
But so that's it. So then you look at so that's one board. That's a lot of steps right now.
Yeah, it seems like it. But I'm a sucker for the shiny finish. When I buy a car, I want it to be shiny. I buy a board, I want it to be shiny. So I'm getting the whole buff job, right? I want it to really.
You want gloss and polish.
That's what I like.
Right. So,
but am I giving up some weight with that? I'm not taking on weight, I should say.
No, because we put the gloss coat on no matter what.
Okay, right? Which seals it which effectively.
You're getting that extra coat. I think it's better. Like, I'll tell you, one day I was out there at the jetty kind of goofing off, and I very rarely lose my board when I'm surfing without a leash, and I was kind of being, I don't know, I was goofing off. It was my fault. And my board kicked out on me, and right as I went to grab it, it hit the rock and hit the nose, and pretty hard. And all it did was chip the gloss coat. Barely. It didn't even chip it. It actually didn't chip off. It just cracked the gloss coat. Mm-hmm. So, not that you should do this, but I hadn't even fixed it. Because it's not even getting in it didn't even go into
penetrated the board yet.
Yeah, right. I would suggest you fix that.
Why would anyone go all the way to the point of a sanded finish and not go ahead and buff it out and shine it?
Well, because some people like a sanded finish.
Oh, the way it looks. It's a cosmetic.
It's more like a sand.
Okay,
it's like if somebody says, "Do you want gloss or satin?"
Right.
When you're painting or something like that.
Yeah,
people just like it. Some people like the way it feels.
No, I want it to be like a fresh, like a ~56 shiny red Corvette, something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's the thing about, the board, your board construction kind of going all the way from start to finish where, we were talking in the very beginning of it, how we used to cut our own blanks out and all that good stuff, like we'd hot wire blanks and had blank templates and, so it's a long way. It's kind of come a long way where you're like, you go all the way from making the blank to finishing the board out.
What we just discussed.
Yeah. So,
and man, I hope this helped people. Everybody out there. A lot of people are far more knowledgeable than me about this. But I mean, for the first time, I feel like, man, I'm gonna order a board that I actually know instead of just point and shoot. Yeah, I like that. I'll buy it. Let me surf it. I'm gonna actually build something that I know how it's done, why it's done, every step of the way. Which for me, I mean, that's a learning experience. And man, I'm pumped on doing it. Man, I think this is the route for me in the future. Get a shaper, get a glasser, man, make what your dream is. And so I'm making my little dream here, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's, really, wherever you're at, if you're in California, if you're in, if you're in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia Beach, any of those places, Florida, East Coast, West Coast, just, man, find a guy who shapes boards there locally and just hit them up, because a lot of times they're going to have the knowledge. Now, I'm not, there's, and look, if your friend's starting out and y'all are trying to learn to shape, just go for it and screw up a bunch of blanks and keep having fun and building some boards, because I tell you, either one, it'll show you there's a long step to it, and two, you never know if you're good at it or not. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could be good just because they were trying to do it. So but it makes a difference because that local wave. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. You don't. Westmoreland, he came in here, or he was talking to Cunningham about building the gun.
Right.
Just if somebody came in here and asked me for a gun, I would definitely call Dave. I'd say, hey man, because I'll be honest, like I've never surfed on a gun. I know it's not saying that I couldn't shape one and all this stuff, but you want to have a guy who's knowledgeable on a certain wave.
100%.
So you get guys out there, and Dave, as great as he is as a shaper and as knowledgeable, he wasn't afraid to pick up the phone and call Mike Myers and say, hey, we're building a gun for a guy. You know him. Well, here's the stuff. What do you think? And that's the good thing about getting a hold of a shaper in your area, because they know other shapers.
Yep.
So even if you're going on a trip
with each other,
right? I had a board that I built for a guy, Chad Hidalgo.
Yep.
He hit me up. He said, hey, I want to get this board. It's a Kazuma. And Matt builds boards out in Hawaii. At the time, I think he had like an 18-month waiting list.
Oh.
And so Chad says, I want a board. My friend has this board. It's my favorite board I've ever ridden. It's his best board he's ever ridden. And he said, you think you could copy it? So I just messaged Matt on Instagram. We talk on Instagram. We don't know each other. We're friends on Instagram, right? And I messaged him. And let me tell you what he did. He emailed me the rail template, the a template to build the outline for the spin template. All the numbers. He said, what's the guy's name? He had everything, right? Sent it to me, and I copied it. All he wanted me to do is send him like a picture. He's like, hey, send me a picture. I see how it looks. Yeah. And so, I had that connection in Hawaii that we don't even really know each other just because we're in the business. So that's the thing, is finding a shaper wherever. It could have been a guy in the East Coast that had that connection with him that could have done it. So it's real important, I think, for the industry to support those local guys that build boards, because one, it's dying, right? There's not a lot of guys building boards. Kids come in all the time. People want to come in and learn stuff, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, so they're taking on apprenticeships too. But, that collaboration between shapers and board builders, I think, is huge. We used to not have access to that back in the day. When I was growing up, and the shapers were like these mystical dudes that, you didn't really have contact with. They didn't want to talk to you. Shut up and make you the board. Go, you little grom. And you never really got to interact with them. They had just coveted secrets and this and that and the other. And so I'm glad that things have come to age to the point where now you can really be educated, communicate with your shaper, get what you want, better product, better surfer, all around. That's what I think.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I'm sure there's still people out there that are kind of like don't want to tell any tricks. But I would say that it's such a lost art, and there's not many people doing it, that I don't think we're too worried about somebody young learning like stealing some customers or anything like that. So there's really no. I think it's better to teach them and let them learn, and maybe they can start their own business or help us out or whatever, and just build a board for fun. There's probably a bunch of guys out there could do it. Just that they're good craftsmen and they could just do it. It's it's a lot of work. And
what's cool about this particular board, we'll be taking little videos and shots of it as the board's being constructed, so we can kind of go back and learn, because we talked about it. But I want people to be able to, at some point, we're going to get KP, Kerry Pitts in here, and Dougie Tanaka, and have them come in and tell us about shaping and glassing, and take them through the steps with my own personal board, because then they're going to tell what I want to do too. And not against buying a pre-made board. I've been doing it for years.
There's a good spot. There's a good spot for on the rack boards or whatever. I mean, look, and there's places too where boards are like, almost throwaway boards because they break them all the time.
It's true.
If you're surfing someplace where you're surfing on a short board and you're just breaking boards all the time, or you think you could,
better be sponsored.
You're not going to expend a ton of money, on a super fancy gloss and polish with a bunch of color. You're going to try to get, clear, not heavy glass job, all that stuff. So I mean, and people do that. And there's board builders in locally that, not as much here, but that have plenty of boards on the rack, in different areas, I'm saying, East Coast, West Coast, stuff like that. So, go out and support them, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
Buy local, shop local, find a coffee shop, serve shop, barber shop, buy local, very, very important. This topic is going to continue, isn't it, Austin? We're going
to try to get some other guys on,
Because I think it'll tie things together for me too when I get KP in here, and he's the glass master, and he'll tell us things. Dougie Tanaka, we're fortunate to have him in from Hawaii, shaping boards with Austin. And y'all have collaborated on some cool stuff too, so I'm taking advantage of that and building my new quiver, soon to be coming to you soon on a beach, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, we've collaborated on some stuff, and it's good because it's good to get everybody's different opinion on stuff. I tell you what, we had the other day. It was like me and Cunningham and KP and Dougie were all in there, and I'm like, man, it's nice. Like, we have some serious knowledge over here to build boards, so it's nice to be able to,
man. We're lucky to have these guys here and making boards.
And I think none of us are like afraid to ask anybody, like, hey, what do you think about this, or should I do this different, or and that's the thing that makes it good, is you got to have places or people to bounce ideas off of or stuff like that. So it's pretty good, I think. But we'll have some guests on. We're going to have some.
We got guests coming, and so stay tuned for that. We'll try to maybe let out which guest is coming out a little bit earlier, because we got some exciting ones coming on. Little people, big people, boys, girls, everything, man. Our surfing community is pretty broad, and we want to try to get to everybody, get a full spectrum of their lifestyles and things like that. So we're going to stay with board construction, but we're going to move to that again, and that's all I got really for now.
Man, I think unfortunately our battery's getting low, and we didn't get a chance to get
Apologies to Matthew McConaughey.
Get Matt.
Sitting there in the back room. He's having tea and crumpets, so he's not too terribly disturbed.
Yeah,
but
sorry about
couldn't
that,
get him on, man.
Camera's about to die, it looks
Oh.
like. So, well, hey,
Later,
guys.
Matt. Peace out. Love you guys.
Peace out, guys. And maybe we're going to leave you with a little video from about Trini. How about that at the end?
That'd be epic, man.
All right, man.
Ride one for Trinity.
Love you, Trini.
All right, brother.
Well, I built me her raft and she's ready for flow. Oh, Mississippi, she's calling my name. Catfish are jumping, that paddle wheel bumping. Black water keep rolling on fast just the same. Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Oh, black water keep on rolling. Mississippi moon, won't you keep on shining on me? Yeah, keep on shining your light. Gonna make everything great. Mama gonna make everything alright. And I ain't got no worries, 'cause I ain't